Horses and business.
Two more up. Oh, two, Joe.
You got it.
Oh, you did?
Okay. Horses and business. Are you close? Or horsing around with business. Whatever you want to do. That's pretty awesome. Well, this.
One, two, three,
Oh.
four,
Yeah, the door was
5, 6,
sticking, so it seemed like it was locked.
7. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, that's
8, 9.
Please come in. Hold that thought for a second. This beautiful piece of artwork here has been my business for 53 years. A long time, yes. You would think by now that I would get it right. That's- I will never get it completely right. That isn't the way the world works. The way the world works is, what is your first name?
Alex.
Excuse me, Alex. Alex, how are you? We're all on this journey, man. All we want to do is get better. After 53 years of doing this, recording 48 times, and proud to tell you that that music is available on iTunes and wherever else, I've scratched the surface in regard to knowledge. I understand harmony really well. I understand the jazz language really well. Sometimes I think I understand people much better. This is so hard, so complicated, so intense, that if you let it, like any other business, it will intimidate you. I mean, it absolutely will intimidate you. Let me give you an example. And everything today, even though I might use this giant $100,000 prop, okay, it's all about you and what's in here and how it meets here. And how each of you find a way through this and this to connect your spirit to whatever you were put on this planet to carry on, regardless of what it is. When I began, my parents would have to ask me not to practice because I was 16 years old, and I don't want to bore you with this story, but it was a football injury that pushed me to this. I love football. I still love football. I love running over people. It's so much fun, especially when they're really big and I hit them really hard. Well, Mr. Smart Aleck got drilled super bad in 10th grade. My varsity team, and I was laid up for quite some weeks and then had to wear this silly brace and so on. And this was a lot of years ago. Medicine has come a long way since. It was in 1964. Wow, how old is this guy? Anyway, I heard this for the first time when I was 16. I was old enough to drive, but my father wanted me to learn how to park this boat that he had. And until I could parallel park an Electra 225 that was like 116 feet long by 92 feet wide. He says, when you can double park this, then I'll take you to get your driver's license. I says, yeah, okay. So on my way to the band room, I hear this guy playing this really cool stuff. That was the first time I had ever been acclimated to that kind of music coming from this kind of instrument. I thought that anything that was associated with the piano was associated with Liberace, and you're too young, most of you, to know what that is. He danced to a different drummer, but we won't go there. He and his candelabras, and he played very, quote, approachable music and made trillions of dollars pleasing the masses. Was his mantra or genre jazz music? No. It was just kind of syrupy, I can play a lot of note stuff. But
Can you play Liberace? Give us an example of Liberace.
is this the Nutcracker Suite?
I'm not bad.
Right. No, see what I'm saying? So play Liberace. All my life I tried to not play it. Now he wants me to sit down and do this, but I will do it. Are you giving me a bad look? It was very flowery, like this. Get all that later. Too many notes. 90% of them are just flowery. But I will not put that man down. First of all, he's dead. So,
He's already down.
but he made a lot of people smile. So he found his art. He found a way to market it. He found a way to continue to market it. And in his flamboyance and wild lifestyle, there was a lot of press surrounding his work, but that's what he did. Now, if I don't particularly care for that piece that I just played, but if I were to play that, check the difference. This doesn't mean what I'm doing is better. It just means that it's different. Without this, you would never hear me. No, whatever. You would never. I mean, in our vernacular, it's kind of like playing like a lounge lizard, and that sounds like a condescending term. Some people like that sort of thing, so forgive them. Mine is about trying to make the most music using the least amount of notes. How many times have your professor said to any of you, learn to write a letter? A perfect example. Write a letter to a client. Write a letter of thank you to someone. Explain to them exactly what you want them to hear without using 10,000 words. You think about it, that sounds simple until you try to sit down and write it. You know what I'm saying? An economy of words is a beautiful thing. It's like an economy of notes. If I play a whole bunch of notes and you ask me to play You Are My Sunshine, and you can't find a melody in that, it's like, what are you doing, dude? You know, I'm supposed to I asked you to do this. I can't even find it, okay? But if you hear it and it has a nice groove to it, and you can hear it clearly, then automatically you're drawn to it. It's like selling something. What's that point of sale? Depends on what you're selling. When you grow up, what are we going to be doing in regard to horses? Explain to me.
I want to do that, like have my own breeding facility also.
Awesome. So, but you still have to advertise that, right? Well, there's marketing involved in absolutely everything. If you're a minister, you have to market. First, what you do. That's what this taught me. Please come in, have a seat, sit on the floor. If I sat here and thought to myself, I really don't care if they like my music or not. I'm going to play my thing, my way, and be selfish and egocentric. Would that do my business any good? But I have an art, a different kind, a different brand. Nike, Titleist, Boston, whatever that brand is, okay, Patagonia, whatever it is. They have, well, it's a brand. Why do you want that? Well, because it's cool and I like it. Well, yes, I have a brand of music, but I still have to make it, in some ways, approachable, so it does not alienate the public. Do I have your attention so far? Are we good? So, in thinking through the years of the very worst obstacles, and I mean the worst, I couldn't help any of you if I didn't share this with you. Because when I was your age, I mean, I don't know that much now. When I was your age, I might have been cocky, like, because I want to play football and hit people, stuff like that. I still want to hit people, but I don't. There's a lot of idiots running around. I'm just kidding. No violence, I'm just kidding. This has to do with 4 parts. Time, melody, harmony, okay, and form. You get that? Time meaning the groove. The melody meaning what you all gravitate to. The harmony meaning what holds it all together. And the form is like, what is the easiest way to explain this? The song that I like to use as an example is Over the Rainbow. And I'm just going to play this real fast so you get an idea from The Wizard of Oz. That repeats. Then it goes to... The form of this piece is called A-A-B-A. That's what it's called. So in my language, the most important part, hi everyone, the most important part of what I need to be aware of at all times is the time, the meter, the harmony. The melody has to be in my head. I might not be playing it. And the form. Because when we do a concert here, April 7th, on this stage, with my trio, I hope you all come, you will realize that even though it might not sound exactly like you think it should, I never deviate from the harmony, the form, or the time. The melody, yes. I'm going to play this tune for you, one chorus, one. I'm going to count it before I play it. And then, after that chorus is completed, I will take you through at least one chorus of, quote, a jazz solo. And the reason I want to do that is because I'm trying to show you the many obstacles that I've had to go and jump over in all these years. And the first one is empathy, compassion. When I say empathy, you think, what? You forgive the bass player because he's out of tune? You forgive the drummer because he can't count? I'm talking about in here. If you think with your egos every day of your lives, you will fail. You will fail. I don't care how good you think you are, you will fail. So 48 times I'm in a recording studio. Do I have anxiety? Are you crazy? Of course. I'm in New York City with 6 of the greatest musicians in the world. They're looking at my charts. I know they're dissecting them. And I know they're looking and saying, man, I wouldn't have done that that way, I would have done that that way. Why shouldn't we do this like this? Why can't we do this like this? These are all these things that I made this stuff up in my head. These guys are there to make $2,500 for a day's work. That's why they're there. They don't think like I think they think. They're there to work. So for years, I had to fight the fact that, well, I started at 16 years old. I can't be that good. I'll never get to a level where I feel comfortable. I'll never be there with the real boys that can swing. Well, I had to learn. It took me 40 years. I told you I was dumb. It took me 40 years to learn this. I'm not making this up. To forgive myself. And I don't mean to sound like a preacher here, because I'm not. 40 years it took. What do you think I mean by that? What is your first name?
Joe.
How are you?
Yeah, Joe.
It took me 40 years to forgive myself. Of what?
For not starting earlier? Is that what you mean by that?
Good point. Continue. Something a little deeper.
Maybe you're not satisfied with where you are. You think you should be level.
My man, you nailed it. You killed it. Yes. So, I'm looking at my playing and I'm thinking, man, you suck. You know, and I'm always being way too judgmental. And there isn't anything wrong with grading ourselves. But sometimes it stifles our growth, man. It's not good. I have to take a step back. So I learned to forgive myself.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, sir.
So ego and self-doubt or lack of forgiveness can both be killers.
Oh, without a doubt. Forgive the karma. Absolutely. So in our case, Jeremy, here we are. We have a duo. You play bass and I play the piano, and we're in Detroit and we're playing like this really fun gig. And you got ripped the night before, and I know you're tired, okay? And we come up to the job, and it's one of those, it's a corporate job and there's a lot of pressure on us to do what the client asks of us. So I know what you went through, so I got to cut you some slack. Okay? You know what you went through, so you absolutely have to cut yourself some slack. So if I came into it as your, quote, boss and was all over you, you're not going to play very well, because our sport is an emotional one. Okay? I mean, how hard is it to hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball when it's doing this? We both know it ain't easy.
Yeah.
Okay? Same difference. Same difference here. So, as opposed to being the guy that wants to put you down, I tell you, I hope you had fun. Let's do the very best we can with what we have right here. And if you feel like I'm going to scold you or do it, take all that nonsense out of your head. We're going to do what we do. And because the attitude is built on reinforcement, you're not going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to play as well as you can. So I learned when I forgave myself for being worried every 5 minutes about being on top of the heap. That has nothing to do with that. What has everything to do with it is the positive karma you create in your world. In your world. You think everyone is perfect? You serious? I know some classical musicians that think they are, but that's the way they're raised and think. That doesn't mean that I put them down. They think the world was based on perfection. Nothing's perfect. I personally have my own beliefs, and I believe in a higher power. He's perfect. That's it. That's it. You think this is? Are you kidding me? We played a concert Sunday. I fought myself all the way to the gig, thinking that, man, you got a lot on your mind, you've been working 7-day weeks, you're tired, what's going to happen when you sit down? Well, I forgave myself for being beat up. Can't help it, it's my job. And I promised myself for my back that when I sat at this piano, I would first forgive myself and then realize that I am in my most revered place. This is my world. I'm going to be the best that I can be. And self-doubt will kill me. It will kill me. And it will also kill the groove. How important is the groove? The groove is the most happening importance in the world. We have a groove every day that we get up. I don't care what that groove is. You feel that groove, baby. That's where it's got to be. The groove is right here. Don't fight it. It's a good thing. It's a great thing. Here we go. Here it is. I'm going to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba-doo-da, da, ba-doo-da, da. Nothing will ever change this. 2, 3, 4. I can play as many kinds of subdivisions that I choose to play, but that pocket's got to be there. A lot of musicians, don't you guys think I'm goofy saying this? A lot of musicians in my genre, they think that hip-hop is a waste of time. I think it's a glorious art because it's a bunch of layered grooves over some very hip words. Well, makes you want to move. How bad is that? That's a good thing. I don't care who writes it and why. It just feels good. So when I think of a piece, I think of what can I do to move the audience? What can happen? Well, if I have self-doubt, I get kind of, I got lost on my journey, so to speak. I scream at my employees. I'm always in a bad mood. What good is that? Does anyone know if there's any good in that? How many of you have been surrounded at one time or another in your lives by people that you would rather punch than listen to? I mean, it does happen, okay? I'm not saying you to, like, do that. Some people are just jerks. They are. Do we like those people? No. But everyone who you come in contact with, that, forgive me for saying this on such a pedestrian level, that rubs you the wrong way, guess what? There's an opportunity in that. One, I don't ever want to act like this person. I want to be better than this person. 2, why are they acting that way? Empathy? Compassion. Maybe there's something going on in their lives that I don't know about. And I'm so busy chirping and complaining about how I don't like their attitude. I don't know what's going on. So why don't I ask them? Maybe they'll jump down my throat. But if I ask them sincerely, then it might be cool. It's just like I ask her every day. Can we play better, my dear, than we did yesterday? It's her choice. I don't know. All I can do, I'm like the dial on the radio. Turn me on, I'm going to play. She is the instrument. If I practice, it's going to feel good. If I practice and expect it to feel great, I'm in deep trouble. If I practice and not expect anything except for the love of my art to emanate from this, then I should be okay. I've been standing here talking to you, spouting off about the groove, and I haven't played anything yet.
Jeff is getting nervous.
Yeah, I could tell. I could hear him tapping his foot. You know, when you work free, it's amazing how many thoughts. Jesus.
Well, Joe, you talked about the four: timing, melody,
Rhythm?
rhythm,
Form.
Right. And then you, in a way, added either an umbrella to that or a fifth one, which was your emotional part of it, so that you can have all four.
The emotion has to be there.
With forgiveness,
Sure.
with anger,
Sure.
with anxiety, or with freedom. Can you show us the nuance of freedom versus being captive to your own unforgiveness?
You guys are gonna be laughing at me, throwing stuff at me. You don't give me any snuffy when I leave, and you know what I'm saying? Everything is like it's all bad, you know? Who knows? Or I could be in my most revered place, right here, and say, he gave me this bit of talent to honor him. I have to give it back to you better than I received it. That's how I stay within my own place, if you will. What? bars. Okay, now I'm going to start something based on the same form. I'm not going to play the melody.
some students may have to leave for a class. This has been your career, a passion here,
Yes.
but it's also been a career pocketbook. It's always been good, right?
No, it stinks. Right now, I'm very broke, and I'm just. The career has been really good to me. I have a lot to be thankful for. iTunes likes me, and I get this stuff called mailbox candy. That's what I call it. When I least expect it, I get a check. Who knows what it is? It could be from Sound Exchange, it could be from ASCAP, it could be from 3 different record labels, but I never know how much because you can't determine who's going to buy what. The European market is really good. That's fine. But I make my living as a college professor, not only on this artist in residence, but my full-time faculty position at the University of Akron. I teach music, humanities, and social studies. My music is based, specialized in jazz kids. And, have private students also, but my degree's in business because when I began college, I really wanted to study music. And my jazz teacher, who was brilliant, said, they will burn you, man. You don't know enough. Well, that hurt my feelings. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I've only done this for 2 years. You're going to be competing with students that have been at it since they were 5. Find another career, and then come to the music school and study privately. You'll get more out of it. Well, I went, and I did. In 1965, when I began college, this is the absolute truth. None of you will believe me, but I took 14 hours, 12, 14, 15, never more than 15, because I was playing 6 nights a week. Don't ask me how I did this. I was playing from 9 o'clock p.m. to 2 a.m. 6 nights a week, all the way through college. When I think back on that now, I have no idea how I did that. I mean, because I was young and dumb, and who knows what trouble I was getting into, and I had an 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock class.
There was no Red Bull then.
No, there wasn't. There was coffee. So, I'm not patting myself on the back here, I'm trying to make a point. My father was lucky if he made $9,000 a year, so if I was going to go to college, I had to pay for it. That's all I paid for. And I probably made $120 a week, $20 a night, 6 nights a week, $20. That's it. 5 hours of playing. I was so tired when I was done, but they were all older musicians. They were seasoned, and they yelled and screamed at me constantly about things that I wasn't doing. Things that I didn't know about the meter, or about the harmony, or about this, or about that. So I studied business, graduated, and then went on to New York and studied multiple times with really great jazz people there. We should never be, like, learning should be right at the forefront all the time. Make sure we know that we want to learn. I'm surrounded by great people in Akron, and there are 3 of them especially in my field that we converse and we talk all the time about the business, mostly about the fun of it. If I could give you what I just felt, regardless of how lame you might have thought the music was, whatever. The form was there, the time was there, the harmony was there, and I hope the solo made sense. If I could give you 1 bar, 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, you would be happy for 6 months. 1 bar. Think of how I feel after playing it. That's what it does to me. And after all these years, you that I wake up every morning excited, and I can't wait to find out what trick she's going to try to pull on me today. That's the truth.
Joe, do we have time, potentially, maybe Jeff knows, to share about that interesting experience you had in New York with some guys who happened to be related to, or,
Henry Simon?
yeah, do you have time?
Sure. I'm not sure what you meant. You mean
Well,
when I-
because
when I-
sometimes things happen for a reason.
Oh, yeah, they did.
And when I say that, I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to happen automatically. It's just all of a sudden you feel something here, you hear something here, and you go, maybe I'm supposed to do something.
It takes all of us, it takes us all a long time to realize that sometimes we don't feel the dots are connected, but they are. And I'll make this quick because I know some of you have to leave. When I was studying at the university when I was 18, 19 in college, one day my classical teacher, she was late. Long story short, she gives me this key. She says, go into the recital hall. They just bought this brand new piano. I paid $72 for my Acrosonic Spinach, so I didn't know from anything. I walk in this room with the key, and there's this thing. It was so big, I couldn't believe it. So I was working on this tune, Darn That Dream, with my jazz teacher, and of course I didn't play the Bach I was supposed to be playing. I sat down and I couldn't wait to hear. What is this instrument? I heard every voice I played. Some of those chords had 4 parts to them. Some had 6 parts. I heard every note clearly. So at that point, every dream I thought I had switched. I said, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I got to have one of these. I have to do it. Well, I was 16, so I saved and I thought, and I played and I played and I played, and about 40 years old.
40 years old, that's 16 anymore.
So like 20 years later, Frank will say, I met this man through a piano technician. And I had this Yamaha piano in my home. And he says, I want you to meet this guy. He's a really cool guy. And he wants to talk to you about this piano. I said, man, I don't have the money to buy any pianos. Mine's fine, whatever. He said, no, I just want to talk to you. So unbeknownst to me, I had at that time just finished my 4th international CD. And this technician person turned this, I came to find out, this man who owns Steinway Hall onto my music. And this guy takes it to New York and shares it with the international company, Steinway. So he says to me, man, you don't think you want this piano or need it? It'll change your writing. It'll change everything. So he was a great salesman, but I played the instrument and it was 1,000 times better than what I had at home. So he flew me to Manhattan and they put me in a room about as big as this stage. And there were 7 pianos like this in that room. I was like a little kid in a candy store. I didn't know what to do first. I says, I don't believe this, man. So I sit down at the first one, didn't think anything could ever be better. Go to the second one, it was 10 times better than the first one. So by the time I get to number 7, I'm so confused, I don't know what to do. So I start all over again. So finally, I chose the 4th piano. And then I hear this knock. And I go to the door, they lock me in this room. So I open the door, and this really taller than you, really tall man walks in with his bow tie. And he says, man, we get all these classical artists coming through here all the time, and you played all this Fats Waller and Duke Ellington and stuff. He says, that's what I grew up with. He said, you're Joe Augustine, right? And I said, yes. He says, I have a couple people for you to meet down the hall. And I said, well, okay, who are you? And he says, I'm Henry Steinway. So that, within 5 minutes, the company signed me as one of their artists. And that was like the beginning of a dream that I thought was going to end when I
How many
owned it.
artists do they have?
They have about, right now, 1,900 to 2,100, and there's 800,000 pianists that do what we do for a living in the world. So of the 2,100, about 75% of those are classical artists. The rest are people like Harry Connick, Billy Joel, Herbie Hancock, Ahmad Jamal, George Gershwin was a Steinway artist, and me.
So you made it to the NFL.
Yes, I did. So, of all of those, they endorsed 5 to run around the country and speak like I'm doing now. And I'm very proud to say to you that I'm one of the 5. And you know the funny part? It has about 40% to do with the music, and the rest is because I love business so much. I know that sounds really silly, but I love the business. They are great. They let me in their board meetings. Only artists they ever let in there, because they said, we want you to speak to the dealers worldwide at 2 conventions, one in country, one out. I said, why do you want me to do that? And the president at the time, Bruce Stevens, says, because they'll believe you. You have no agenda. You're the artist. If we tell them that, they're going to think we're trying to get into their pocket with discretionary
You're
spending.
still afraid though, right?
Pardon me?
You still have fear though.
I still have fears.
Yeah, but
I'm afraid now.
You're going to go speak in front of all them and all these other pianists at these conventions, dealers, the whole nine yards. And they're going to look at you and they're going to go, this guy didn't start till he was 16. How'd you get this gig?
Well, I'm a fear fellow. and I felt sorry for myself, just kidding. Does anyone have any questions? You gotta have questions. I expect to hear questions.
Sophie's always got.
Get one over there.
I'm on my way.
Yes.
So you mentioned empathy and compassion, how important it was, and then you mentioned some experiences you had with some teammates, maybe bosses were a little bit more aggressive on you. How would you describe the importance of that?
He was a bass player on the set. He ridiculed him for 3 hours. He was like, shut up. It's like screaming at me. This, what is this? It's like, forgive me. I'm just like complaining. I said, what is wrong? I sent everyone to lunch, and I had to sit him down because I said, man, you're making me nervous. I'm already nervous. What is the story? He said something to me about the melody of some of these tunes. And he said, you're dancing with the melody in places you shouldn't be dancing. And then he said the most poignant thing I ever. He said, do you know the words to these standards? I said, I'm not singing them. I don't know any words. He says, well, how could you possibly phrase this? I went home after that session. I relearned 12,000 pieces of music. It took me 5 years. I wrote all those words. But the guy was right. He's cantankerous, pain in the butt, okay? And you know what? That was 1988. Every Sunday, between 2 and 4, we talked. Every Sunday. Ironically, he lives in St. Augustine, Florida. He's 86 years old now, great bass player. Okay, but the thing was, at the time, I wanted to do this. But I shut up because I felt that maybe there was something to learn here. And I'm lucky to have people like that. They cared enough to scream and yell at me.
Right.
So sometimes, you know, your boss or whatever, maybe the reasons why aren't as ugly as we might think they are. So take a step back and say, oh, maybe his dog's sick or something. I'm cool with this. Or he's like his girlfriend left him or something. Whatever. Before you want to fight, you know, think. It's easier said than done.
That's a really interesting point. I've always assumed that...
Fight first?
No. I've always assumed that you would have known the words to Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Because I know, I mean, Somewhere Over the Rainbow Bluebirds Fly, meaning something is good out there. It's an optimistic, it's sort of sad tune, but as an optimistic tone to it. I would have assumed that every musician knew the words.
I knew them a little bit, but you see what he gave me, Jeff, what he gave me was I couldn't figure out, like, you all heard of Frank Sinatra, right? The greatest phraser on planet Earth. No one can phrase a piece of music like this guy. When he sings, just download something on YouTube or something, feel where the time is, and listen to where he's singing. Sometimes he's 8, 9 beats behind the time, and he's telling that story that even if you're your age, you're like, I gotta go find my girlfriend. This is very cool.
Yeah, my kind of town, Chicago.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't understand how profound that was. And there's been many other scenarios where I bit my tongue like, because I wanted to do this, but I didn't. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Too intense a phrase, self-loathing. You're forgiving yourself? Or performance anxiety? One or the other. Same thing?
No. Performance anxiety is another animal altogether. And I didn't get into that today, but that's water for another time.
But doesn't it make you doubt yourself? The anxiety of, am I prepared? Am I ready? I'm going to fail. Da-da-da-da-da.
Performance anxiety has all kinds of, there's several elements that it can tear us apart, make us sick, physically sick. So the part that I said, let's climb into my most revered place, what part I didn't tell you was probably the most important, and thank you for bringing it up, is that I say this little prayer to myself. I did it this morning. You didn't know what I was thinking about. You thought I was horsing around. I didn't play right away. I was counting. I was thinking. Okay? Okay, you gave me this. I'm going to give it back. There's a few things on my mind. I would like you to collect those things, put them in a cardboard box, put them in your helicopter and fly them over the Bermuda Triangle and drop it. Okay? Because I don't want any part of this to interfere with what I love the most. And I know that sounds probably stupid and silly, but I've been doing it for 35 years. Because on my first, quote, recital, I had a glass of water. You gotta love it. I'm trying to talk to you and everybody in the audience. And I was like this. So my classical teacher, she says, Jesus, Joe, if you plan on doing this for the rest of your life, you better get control of this because this is not cool at all. You know, this. So it took a long time. But like a lot of emotional skills, they're perishable. And if we don't practice them every day, they will leave. I'm going through something rough emotionally right now. It happens. Part of life. Am I happy about it? No, I'm not. Just lost someone special last Sunday, in addition to this other stuff. Am I happy about it? No. If I conjured up all that stuff and sat down, I'd make you all cry because of the music I played. I owe you more than that, okay? It doesn't mean that I don't have these thoughts. You just have to, every day, an hour at a day, an hour at a time, I mean. Every sip of wine that I take, I savor it. Every bite of food, I savor it. Every dip of tobacco, I savor it. Excuse me, did I say that? Every sip of, whiskey, I savor it. Whatever it is, I mean it. How long do we have? Who knows? I don't know. So did I like today? Thanks to those guys. Absolutely. Thanks to Deb and Pam? Absolutely. I get to do this and share something that might change your lives, even if it's one iota of something. If it changes you for the better, then I feel my faith. Yes, Steve?
Since the box has been disintegrated over the Bermuda Triangle,
Yes?
would everybody mind if Joe dazzled us one more time?
Sure. Do we have time for that?
Please.
Yeah, please.
But it's one of my pieces. I hope you like it.